profession you will end up meeting on a daily basis. A few professions are a little odd or a little rare for you to meet around and find people that way. So now what we are going to do in architectural planning is we will similarly look into the career options and career prospects in the career code architectural planning. What does architects do and who these guys are and how is their lifestyle, how do they carry their particular career. Anyways, so hope I am visible to everybody there. Yeah, I'm able to see that my screen is visible. So considering that, okay. Now, every time I say architecture or a career in architecture, there is this general understanding or a feeling that careers in architecture is mostly for people who want to build a house. Okay? Mane kattbeku andre architect anta. That we have understood what an architect is. Okay? So now I want to, like I showed a mood board last year about what architects do. Look at the pictures that you're seeing in the screen today. Right from sketching a particular building to making a prototype or a model of a particular building, or building the design on the internet or on the computer. Okay, designing landscapes and spaces. All of these are also the mood board of an architect's life. Now, there is this general understanding or this assumption that architecture is for just building houses. But I want you to see these pictures that none of these buildings. There is this person called Frank Gehry. Okay, Frank Gehry is a very famous or a very popular architect from Spain. Okay, I will type for Frank Gehry. Okay. This man, he is an architect, and if you see all his buildings, not even one building will look normal. Okay, now if you see this building, for example, it is called the Academy of Achievement. And how did this building, how was this building actually inspired? This building was absolutely inspired by just crushing a paper and keeping it on the table and converting that crushed paper on the table to be looking like a building itself. Not even one building will be normal. Look at this building. This is not a cartoon, this is a really built building. Okay, this is really a built building. And look at this construction, pop architecture. This is really a built building. Imagine how difficult would it be for you or for somebody to build a structure which is so different in shape but still standing strong. Okay? This is one of the museums that he designed. Not that now if in India or anywhere you see regular construction, mostly what will you see? You will see steel construction, you will see brick, you will see walls, you will see concrete pillars and beams. But these buildings are just using steel and metal. He has built this building. Most of them are museums, parks, some of them are airports. Zaha Hadid, but unfortunately she is not alive today. Even Zaha Hadid buildings are also living crazy. Look at that. Why I am showing all these buildings is I don't want you to visualize or imagine architecture means building straight buildings, building houses, building shops and shopping complexes. Look at the style. Look at the style of this building. How beautiful it is, isn't it? It looks like a plot, very fluid in nature. But it's a strong construction. It is actually a building. Okay, so these buildings are very excellent people. Even in India, there are extraordinarily good architects who has an extraordinary good work. Okay, these now when you go and search for Zaha Hadid buildings, you will find buildings like this. And none of these buildings are on the computer. These buildings are really built, and it is there mostly sometimes in Germany, or sometimes in France, and things like that. Similarly, if you also take construction within the country, if you take Indian architectures, especially temples, there are excellent examples that can really mind blow. For example, Tanjavur temple in Tamil Nadu. Okay. If you see this temple, even today we are not able to identify that the shadow of the temple never falls on the floor. How did they build a gopura? How did they build a dome? Or how did they build a structure where even today we are not able to understand the shadow of it doesn't fall on the ground? What kind of an architecture was it? And most of the Indian temples were built in the social, cultural things within a temple. Even this is directly connected to the architecture that you generally see. And on the building, on the Tanjavur architecture, there is a few places where you can't believe the mind-blowing sculpting that happened on the temple. The way how people sculpted certain things on the temple, even today, it is difficult to bring this kind of quality. So this is late architecture, this is very, very older architecture, historic architecture. But Franco-Gehry examples that I gave right now, or Zahavi examples that I gave right now, are architecture for today's time. It is so unbelievable that the construction technology in today's time also is taken shape. Right now, what are the other architects or other people that we should be taking inspiration from? Let us look at it also. Okay, now. If you also see Bandara is nothing but you must be knowing, Bandara is a place where rescue for animals has actually come. Rescue for animals. So in Jamnagar, 3,000 acre rescue campus. Even that was built by architects. Why I am breaking this, or why I am repeating this to you, my dear children? It is to let you know that architecture is just not for building houses, shops and shopping complexes, but also to build schools, colleges, resorts, rescue centers, museums, palaces, airports, railway stations, bridges. All of these are also the job list of an architect can do. And generally these people take such great examples with the living examples or anything and they convert that to be a building. For example, Franco-Gehry, he took a napkin, nothing but a towel. He will take one towel, put it on the sofa, put it on the table, he will take a photo of that and he will try to convert that to be a building. Okay, Santiago Calacca, he took an inspiration of a bird and he converted that to a museum. Now you take, another big architect, he took an orange peel, he put it on the table, he arranged the orange peel and converted it to be a Sydney Opera House. Opera House is a very famous building in Sydney, Australia. Okay, now why I am giving this all to you? Again, imagine what an architect can do. Now if you take Mysore, which is in Karnataka, is a planned city. What is a planned city? You just can't go and build a house yourself, you just can't go and build a shopping complex yourself. There is a zone developed for housing, there is a zone developed for commercial requirement, there is a zone developed for different requirements. All these different requirements, when people build it, we call them urban architect. Okay, we are also having a profession called urban architecture. Okay, with this understanding, what we will be doing further right now is we will understand the feel, the work, the fit, and the part. Okay, now what do architects do fundamentally is they will be at the empty site, looking at the empty site to visualize what should come there, which means you design it on a paper, on a computer, and then you prototype, which means even before building a big building, you try to do that entire building in a small way on your table using local material, and you convert the prototype to real building. Okay, so it includes 4 processes. You need to go observe the empty site. After that, once you come back, you will design that on your paper, then you will make a smaller prototype of it before you make it a big building, and after and the client approves, you will end up constructing the building itself. So there are 4 stages of any architect: imagine, design, prototype, and execute. Okay. Now what is this cluster not? Now I told you what is this cluster so, but what is this architecture cluster not? Architecture is not civil engineering. Civil engineering and architecture can be 2 sides of the same coin, or it can be a little different, but architect's job or architect's work is way different, or in a major way it is different from the civil engineer. An architect will plan, design and strategize, whereas a civil engineer, designs the structure, he executes. Architect designs the planning, elevation, 3D, interior, etc. But when a civil engineer will design the structure, the strength of the building, the construction quality of the building, and buildings. You need to keep that very, very clear. An architect will give the strategy or a guidance for construction, but he is not the core guy who end up constructing or giving the plan for construction drawings necessarily. The civil engineer within the architecture office will be it is not, what is not interior decoration. It is not. It is maybe interior design can be a part of it, but not interior decoration. Not the single side. It is not that you build one building, you end up doing the same building again and again. Every 3 BHK house you design, every hotel that you design, every mall that you design will be of a different shade, different color, different form, different place, but different weather conditions. Every single project will be very different. That's what we need to understand. Now understanding the discipline that decides how brilliant people are. So it is a very responsible industry, right? Your lifestyle, your happiness of living, your surrounding, to make you feel comfortably live as a human being, architects designs the society in a place where you live is very, very important. Now, just imagine this. What is an architect is responsible for? If you go to a temple in today's time, a temple is also built of brick and mortar. You want bricks, you need walls, etc. You want to build a hospital, even then you need a foundation, you need columns, beams, you need bricks, you need cement. You want to build a hotel, even then you need columns, beams, you need foundation, you need a building. You want to design a school, you need the same thing. A university, you need the same thing. A museum, you need the same thing. But the moment you enter inside a museum, the moment you enter inside a personal bedroom, the moment you enter inside your principal's cabin, the moment you enter inside your classroom, the moment you enter inside a hotel or restaurant, your body language changes, the way you think changes, your behavior changes. How it changes is because the environment is actually giving you an information or comfort or any kind of a feeling that makes you decide how to behave in a place, is also because the environment is designed, automatically your body language completely changes to the environment and you behave accordingly. Then imagine how much an architect plays a role in somebody's behavior. So there is also something called as psychology in architecture, where you design it in such a way a person will end up behaving in such a way anyways. Okay? This is very important to understand. Now within architecture as an industry, what kind of professions are there? That is what we are doing. I have 20 different professions here. I am going to click on a few of them and I am going to go. If you click on architect itself, okay, designs and delivers a building from first sketch to controls, homes, schools, offices, hospital, or architect. Then imagine you want to understand what is a landscape architect. It's a very interesting profession. He is not a guy who generally only designs buildings, but he designs parks, plazas, gardens, waterfronts, which is not a building. Okay, now for example, if you go to Lalbar also told the landscape architects to design that. Lalbar is a very famous garden in Mumbai. Okay, he took the help of art. very few cities in India are planned like Chandigarh and Mysore. Mysore is equally, if not as safe as Chandigarh, but it is equally, very well planned, very well structured, and they know every single block is for what kind of one particular set of block of people. Education, hospitals, one set of block is for commercial purpose, one set of block is for residential purpose, etc. They are very beautifully designed entire Chandigarh in a very planned form. That is what a urban designer is. Then we also have a housing specialist, town planner, architectural researcher. Okay, we also have structural collaborator, production designer. Now, architects also begin to film industry. It's something very interesting. In every song you see backgrounds where buildings are Indian property, where there's a lot of set that was put in the market. You need architects to come and design those structures and create it. So even set and production designer, architects do actually. Okay, now getting into what does an architect do from morning till evening? Let us take a couple of examples. Okay, imagine this very young architect or Purush. What will he do? 9:30 in the morning, he walks the foundation floor of the cables to siting place in India, checks rebars facing against the GFC number. So, architect generally does not build or execute, but he will check the structure and approve and analyze if it is done right. So generally they do site visits once in 15 days, once in 30 days. They do site visits. Telling how is now, how is now the site visit? I'm coming and seeing if the bars are placed properly, the concrete is properly. Maybe that is what you will do at 9:15. And after that you will finish that, you go to office. Your team may be ready with a few drawings of another building, 3 different options of plans. You may be just going there, analyzing concrete plans, approving a few plans, etc. Then in the evening, you see a few people are actually working on the computer, designing the 3D structure of a company, restaurant, or hotel. Okay? And then in the night, he is kind of updating his online Revit models. Revit model is an online software in which you can build buildings in a single way. Another example is that which is a Pune metropolitan regional development authority. This urban plan related to Chandigarh and Mysore is a planned city. Now, their lifestyle, people who are designing urban planning, their lifestyle is very different. They will be coordinating with the local panchayat. They will be discussing with the authority, the building authority of the place. They will be working with public consultation because many public people may come and oppose. They will feel that their properties will be taken away. They will join hands, go show them the plans stating that their places will not be taken away, along with the public authority. Their life will be very, different. And then one more example we can see the property of Karan as one of the design consultant. He's designing a structural collaborating people, pulls the latest model in the Meriscope is another software where you can build buildings, run a clash detection across architecture, structure, and HVAC. HVAC is the AC system. It's checking the whole building that is going to be coming up with. Is the AC system well on that, and then he's selecting the material for applying, and evening he is actually updating the software for the new buildings is going to be. This is the examples of different architects that this Okay, now to get into this culture, what kind of skills you should have, you should really be good in mind. If not great, at least you must have the hands to sketch well, that comfort in using the pencil, and ability to visualize a particular theme or seeing something in drawing, something you might find in the memory also, helps me able to draw, helps me able to sketch. Okay? Then you must be able to read maps, not necessarily Google Maps, but you must have the capability to understand planning from the top. Okay, you must be able to understand space. If you are very good in geometry, specifically for students who enjoy geometry in mathematics, you really love geometry, you can understand angles, spaces, spatial reasoning very well, you definitely can think of architecture, you will enjoy it because geometry is your favorite subject, you really love geometry, or you're very curious about geometry. You as a student should think of consulting architecture. You think in 3 dimensions, like I told you, you care about ಕಲರಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದೇನೋ ಈ ಎಣ್ಣೆ ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಥರ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದರೆ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಂಡಿಕೇಶನ್ ಯು ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಲಾಜಿಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿ ಅಟ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಈ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಅಂದರೆ ನೀನು ತುಂಬ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿವ್ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಟ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ರೀಸನಿಂಗ್ ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕಲ್ ರೀಸನಿಂಗ್ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ ಯುವರ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿವ್ ಇದನ್ನು ಎರಡು ಜೊತೆಗೆ ದೊಡ್ಡನೇ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಓಕೆ ಅಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ನಾನು ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ 9 to 5 ಜಾಬ್ night 11 o'clock the cement guy is mental and want to pour the ready-mix cement inside the 50th floor of the new building. One day you have to sacrifice a book stand. You don't have this. Okay, sometimes the last 2 months of the construction getting over, you have an overwhelming cost of the time. You need to be there for this next time and get a certain things done. Okay, your civil engineer will keep your head, time will keep your head. Sometimes the problems are not because there's a lot of money involved. And you can't expect 25 lakh or 10 lakh like a software engineer or super salary or but architecture is a professional industry. Like chartered accountancy, lawyer, architecture is a professional career. You can also be a freelancer or set up your own practice. You can have a small office with 15 people and you can run 10 projects and still make revenue. Always don't make architecture a job. It's a professional career. You can either go to a job or definitely you can actually end up doing, you can start your own business and become an entrepreneur also. If you don't like math, don't take architecture. Please. It is ತುಂಬ creative and math and avoid mathematics and geometry is extremely important for you. You need a fast feedback. But you must be that guy.
I request everybody to keep silence and listen. I repeat, everybody please to maintain silence and listen. Don't sleep.
You can either take science, commerce or arts. All 3 science architecture is possible. Until 3 years back or 2 years back. 2 years only science students was able to choose architecture. But right now even commerce and arts students can do. But mathematics should be a mandatory subject. I will repeat, arts, science, commerce, any students can do architecture, but mathematics as a subject is a prerequisite and mandatory to be accessed. Okay? Otherwise, you are not eligible to do. Okay? But along math, if you also take physics by taking science, architecture, you self better aage. If not, also it is possible, but math is mandatory. Okay, then the first real filter is 10th complete body. These are the most important filter. There is an entrance examination called NATA, which is National Aptitude Test in Architecture. Repeat, National Aptitude Test in Architecture, JWE paper 2, which means if you want to get into IIT, do architecture, then you have to write JWE paper 2. Okay? Only for IIT Kharagpur and UP, you need to write JWE AAT, which is Architecture Aptitude Test. For other IITs, you will be able to write JWE paper 2. Then you also have an exam called C, which is conducted by UC, conducted by IIT, which is undergraduate exam for design conducted by IIT. You use the exam, you will be able to apply for architecture even without applying for NATA. There is a new rule that has come about 1 or 2 years back. NATA, JWE, BR, AAT, but you can still write UC examination and you will be able to apply for architecture colleges also. Then state level CET colleges, it's not being approved these days, but every year the rules keep changing. So when you apply for grade level, please check what is the updated or latest rule and then you will be able to do it. Now these are the few excellent colleges for where you can study architecture. And they are CEET, Center for Environmental Planning and Technology. It is one of the best universities in the country for you to do the architecture. Okay, Center for Environmental Planning and Technology in Ahmedabad. And second one, School of Planning and Architecture in New Delhi. We call it SPA, School of Planning and Architecture in New Delhi. Is one of the best colleges. And I you a list of 25-21 colleges available to architecture. Now, for you to get into architecture, you need to remember a little bit the 50% weightage is on entrance exam marks and 50% weightage is on board exam marks. Where for Karnataka, you need to go to the CET counseling exam. 50% weightage from CET, 50% weightage from NATA. They will combine the mark, give you a ranking based on the ranking for Karnataka unique exams. Every state will be different, state is different. What I told you. What's the first designation usually you generally get? You start from junior architect, then architectural designer, if you can get into development trainer, DIM modeler, site architect, interior architect, sustainability analysis. These are all actually become a senior architect, chief architect, and you can be okay. Now what are companies can kind of hire you are these. There are primarily two kinds of companies. Let me go and search for India's biggest builders for residential projects. Every single company that you see here may be one of the, for example, if you come to Bangalore, these names are very common. BFL, Brigade Group, Prestige Group, Salapuria Satava, Shobha Builders. These are extremely big builders where they have presence in the Middle East, in India, etc. And they generally hire architects and pay them really well. But a few people don't want to take up this kind of builder route, but they actually want to join good architecture firms and learn from that and then go to these kind of companies so that they can. A few neighboring countries which is very good for architecture could also be Dubai or Sharjah or any Gulf countries. Architecture is very popular. The buildings are very tall, very massive. They spend very well on buildings. They have marvelous architecture that most of the countries in the world don't spend that kind of money in making buildings. That's one country that you can think of going and learning architecture. And last but not least, all the European countries like Germany, Amsterdam, these places are also very popular for mechanical engineering, architecture, and things like that. Okay, and the L&D is a company which is very popular. Tata is very big. Okay, PMPA is very big. Okay, even BDM Bangalore also hires architects, right? So these are a few of the companies that can also you. Now, architecture is very popular even outside the country, because if you take places like School of Architecture and Planning, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Harvard Graduate School of Design, Architectural Associate. This is Architectural Associate AA is like the god of architecture in the world. You get into AA, your life is set. Okay? Nothing like AA has so much of name, so difficult to get in, right? You need to build a portfolio to get in there, okay? So you can do research on AA Architectural Association and all the other few universities. Columbia University has, National University of Singapore, NUS also has. NUS is good for many courses, architecture is also excellent, okay? So these are few things that I would like to do, but I want to give you some interesting information about architecture as a career. Architecture as a career fundamentally is science of all arts. That's the name of architecture. Once Sir Ratan Tata, who is the founder of the Tata Groups, his father wanted him to study the architecture. He studied architecture. His father wanted him to be a mechanical engineer. Okay? Then he became a mechanical engineer. After 2 years of his mechanical engineering, he discontinued and he went to his father and said, "Oh, I want to be an architect." Right? And he did architecture. And in one of the interviews, he told, "I am successful in my business today is also because the knowledge that architecture gave me. It allowed me to think life in 360 degree. It allowed me to design products. Even when Tata Nano project was made, he was very closely involved with the product designers. And he said, I was able to design such a nice car is because architecture gave me that spatial design as an understanding being an architect." Other examples are Aishwarya Rai is an architect. And Pink Floyd is a very popular, Bangalore, if you pursue architecture because architecture is a degree that will allow you to think both and your website brain, which is logical. Putting together, you become a very skilled human being so that any task or any project that you take in your life will be able to give you a logical response and also your creative response at the same time, and hence that gives you the success. It's a very interesting industry, and after building your career, after you complete VR, in masters also there is masters in architecture, in town planning, urban planning, landscape architecture, and things like that will be able to do. Okay, so that's it for careers in architecture. A quick presentation that spoke about everything about the industry in action. And if there are any questions, I'll take them. Very quickly, please.
This is Lakshmi Mahmood, the faculty member of PSSEMR School.
Please.
On behalf of our dean, principal, faculty members, and students of PSSEMR School, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to you. We are deeply grateful to you for sharing your valuable knowledge and expertise with us. Sir's insightful session on architecture, construction, and infrastructure has broadened his understanding and